We got Christian Morales and all of hello. Yeah.
He wants to kind of turn that color. He gave you a little bit because he got behind.
All right. Good morning. Good morning.
Going on there. I got a little turn.
gentlemen, can we get seated as we start our program? Good afternoon, young and old. Welcome to the Amarillo Branch NAACP Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. March. For once, and thank you. Go ahead. Let him know. And we got decent weather this year, so that's not too bad. In the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, we must live together as brothers and sisters or perish together as fools. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that's so important in this day and age. We must work together to move forward. This crowd represents the doctor's dream. Every race, creed, color, religion here in fellowship for the betterment of our society. Give yourselves a big hand. I want to welcome everybody here. I want to give a special thanks to Potter County Commissioner Mercy McGee, Judge Nancy Tanner, Commissioner Alfonso Vaughn, and all in Potter County for allowing us to use their facilities and being a part of today. I want to thank Sergeant Wes Hill, and of course Chief Ed Drain and the Amarillo Police Department, and Bill Mussick with the City of Amarillo Traffic Engineering for keeping the roads safe on our march here. Let's give a big round of applause to the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha for being here today and honoring their brother, Dr. King's legacy. There we go, brothers. Let them see. Want to thank City Councilman Howard Smith and Ms. Frida Payne for being here, and also School Board Member Robin Malone. All of our elected officials. The biggest change you see is the change you make by voting. Remember that. I now want to bring Reverend Betty Nickerson forward for our invocation for today.
Amen. Amen. Would you all stand up and join hands, please? Make sure that the chain is connected all together. Amen. Let us bow here. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come unto Thee once again. Thank You for Your grace and Your mercy. Most of all, Your love. Father God, just thank You for letting us all come together one more time. And thank You for Dr. Martin on his heart. March, stand, and non-violence to get us all on one accord to work together. The freedom for all. Father God, help us all to remain humble and to carry on His dream, but carry it on in the name of Jesus. In Your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen.
At this time, I would like all the newly elected executive officers of the Amarillo Branch NAACP and other elected officials to step forward as Commissioner Mercy McGee will swear us in for the 2019 term.
All right, so who we have joining, and if you'll just join us on regular sign, the first row is perfectly appropriate. Just so you know, in the audience who is joining us up here, we have Mr. Floyd Anthony, President David Lovejoy, First Vice President Patrick Miller, Second Vice President Maxine Brandon, Secretary, Liddell Hill, Assistant Secretary, Councilwoman Frida Powell, Treasurer, Clemens Whitaker, Assistant Treasurer, We also have on the executive committee Sharon Anthony, Bill Glover, Jerry Glover, Melody Graves, Grover Martin, Perlene Martin, Father Nichols, Glenn Pride, and Dana Woods. So what we're going to do here is they're getting ready to take their oath of office. So kudos to this group and to each one of you as we continue to come together and really address difficult things that are just, what I say in a very general sense, difficult to talk about. And I think what we collectively do is we help each other and we can lift each other up and have an honest and authentic conversation around who we are and who we want to be. And so one of the signs that caught my attention right out of the gate when I showed up is the sign that says we surround ourselves and we stand ourselves on the side of love. So what better day than today to really take a moment and pause and reflect on that we all lean on the side of love and to love one another. So for those that have joined me up front, I'm going to read your oath of office, which is called your installation oath. Please raise your right hand. And if you will repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to discharge to the best of my ability the responsibilities of office in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in accordance with its Constitution and bylaws and the decisions of its governing bodies. I dedicate myself anew to its principles of equity and justice under law. I shall try always to keep the goals of the NAACP above all purely personal or individual interests that might hinder the attainment of those goals. I ask the continued help of Almighty God in keeping this pledge. If you so swear these, please affirm by saying, I do. I do. Congratulations to each of you, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Right now I bring to the stage Amarillo Council Member Ms. Frida Powell with a proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I'm going to ask my fellow council member, Mr. Howard, to join me for the proclamation. I want to say good afternoon. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is one of the most distinguished civil and human rights leaders in history, and whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. helped organize the Southern Christian Leadership Conference in 1957, and whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led the famous March on Washington in 1963, whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, and therefore, we mayor and city council members of the city of Amarillo, Texas, do hereby proclaim Monday, January 21st, 2019 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Amarillo, and encourage all citizens to join together to celebrate the life of this great citizen, given under our hands and seal of office this 15th day of January 2019. Mayor Nelson, Councilmember Elaine Hayes, Councilmember Frida Powell, Councilmember Dr. Eddie Sauer, and Councilmember Howard Smith. In conclusion, it is an honor and a privilege for us to stand with you today and share the work that the Amarillo branch NAACP has done and continues to do in the Amarillo community for over 75 years to make us all stronger. We are neighbors in a city that values honor and respect for all people. Dr. King, along with our ancestors, had the courage to stand in the face of prejudice, and they chose to respond with honor and respect. They were persecuted, but they persevered. They were threatened, but they did not back down. They did not fight for the sake of fighting, but for the sake of all of us. Dr. King fought for equality and justice. Our vision is for Amarillo to continue to unite in respect and honor for all people. Today is a National Day of Service. In honor of Dr. King's commitment, I encourage each of you to go and improve the lives of others in order to assist in meeting the challenges that face our city. We can all help in improving one life at a time by volunteering not only today, but every day. What are you doing to serve others? Thank you, and may God continue to bless each of you.
Now at this time, I bring Potter County Commissioner Alfonso Vaughn.
Gotta hold this so the wind doesn't blow it all over the place. But as I look out at those of you in this audience and understand the reason we're all here today is to celebrate and remember a great man, a great legacy of love, of selflessness, of courage, of his convictions to exact his beliefs that all people, regardless of their skin color, their ethnicity, their religion, their country of origin, and yes, even those they love, should be looked upon and treated as God's children. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of all of these things, lived it, and even died for those beliefs. So I wonder how we all who live in the greatest country on the face of the earth, at a time of the most fruitful benefits afforded mankind, can sit back and allow this country, whom God has richly blessed, in order to bless others less fortunate, to have a blind eye and a deaf ear to what is transpiring in our country today. I think sometimes we believe we're on an island unto ourselves and hold fast to the imagery, thought that what I have is all self-acquired, and you singularly need to get yours and without any support or help. We forget at times what the scripture says in Luke 12:48, for everyone to whom much is given, much is required. We live in a time where we are more polarized and non-committal than at any time I can remember. Imagine for a minute the richest, most prosperous, most admired and envied country in the history of mankind furloughing of its workers or requiring them to work for weeks without pay for no fault of their own, while our leaders debate the existence of a wall to keep some foreigners out of our country. To be sure, legal immigration needs to be discussed, but candidly and forthrightly, without hidden agendas. These and other issues should and need to be debated, but not at the hardship of our citizens. We have a president who listens to talk show hosts to make decisions, and a Senate majority leader who has given his independent authority to a president because he lacks the moral and responsible courage to do his job. I once said if I was king for a day, I would have all of the elected officials, to surrender their party labels, not having to adhere or vote on party lines, but to do the right thing for the people you represent. We as elected officials don't own these titles or positions. We represent the people who put us here. Martin Luther King Jr. would be saddened by what he would see today in our country. We ourselves have dropped the ball in assuring that all people are treated fairly. I believe he would tell us to get off the sidelines, get in the game, and fight to ensure life is better for all. To be sure, we should always recall Dr. King for his stance on truth, justice, and assuring equity for all people. We should marvel at his speeches and remember his legacy of love and nonviolence. And most of all, we should get in the game, for the clock is ticking. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Commissioner Vaughn. At this time, I bring our keynote speaker, Reverend Nell Newton of the Amarillo Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Welcome her.
Because I'm short. It is so good to be with you. Mr. Glover called and asked if I would be the keynote speaker, and he called at a time when I was reading another piece that said that those of us who speak on this day, we should not speak about Martin Luther King Jr., we should speak about the things that Dr. King was speaking about. To prepare to be with you today, I asked my mentors, I said, what should I speak of? My mentor said, tell them the good news. I reminded them, you know I'm in Amarillo now, don't you? Sometimes it's very hard to see that there is good news here in Amarillo. All right. And that's when my ancestors spoke up, and my ancestors reminded me, you are here because we survived. All of the people in Amarillo are here because our ancestors have survived, and that is where we begin with the good news. We are the children of those who have survived and who began the work of shaping this world, who began the work of bending the moral arc of the universe towards justice. And as their children, it is our work to pick up where they began and to continue this work. And that is also good news. But then my children looked at me. My children are not impressed with platitudes. My children, they speak frankly, and they are impatient to be done with the old ways that kept people separated, kept people in neat little boxes, labeled. Our children, I know your children, our children are not willing, are not content to accommodate the old bigotry and racism. Does anyone out here have children like this? Yes. Children who terrify us with their boldness. Well, forgive me, strength, because I know that my work is to love these children forward, and yes, I know that they will carry after me when I am done, but oh my heavens, in the meantime. So yes, telling the good news is part of my work as a minister, but my children remind me that there is another part to my work. That part of my work is to tell the truth. And if I cannot tell the truth of a matter, then I am upholding a lie. I have lived long enough to tell this truth, a truth that I now know. Until this city, until this state, until this nation can acknowledge that it was built upon egregious lies and injustice, we will never truly prosper. We will never truly be worthy of this land. Until we examine all of the implications and the manifestations of racism and the enduring scars of slavery, this country will never truly be worthy of the ideals of democracy. Until Texas finally and formally recognizes and seeks reconciliation for the generations of economic and physical injustice perpetuated by its white citizens upon its black and brown citizens, it will never truly be worthy of its name. A name taken from the native people of East Texas, the name it will never be worthy of is Texas, which means friend. Until the leaders and the citizens of this beautiful city of Amarillo acknowledge the deep and lasting scars, damage of segregation in this city, we will never be worthy of our children. Which is why I'm afraid too many of our young, educated people of color choose to leave this place and go to where they do not have to live every day with the evidence of unacknowledged injustice. And now here is some good news. Change is possible. And telling the truth heals. Here is a truth. All of the people of Amarillo deserve to live lives of dignity, worth, and beauty. But how do we get there? For those of us who identify as white, our work is to having the courage to look at the history of Amarillo. Look at the practices of the past and look at the inaction of the present that maintain inequality, inequity in our city. The work is to see if we can notice how systemic racism has blunted this ability blunted this city's ability to thrive. This is our work. For those of us who identify as African American, our work is holding the courage to tell the truth and never quit telling the truth. To tell the stories of our ancestors, tell the stories of right now. It means running for office and forging bonds with our Hispanic and Asian neighbors, for although we have all come up through different hardships, we will be stronger working together. This is our work. For those of us who identify as multiracial, who by our very existence interrupt the convenient constructs about race, our work is to remind people that you can't put us in a box. Black or white, you can't put us in a box, that you shouldn't put anyone in a box. And the courage we must have is to hold all of our identities simultaneously and gloriously and inconveniently as we help one another and the rest of the world out of boxes. Amen. That is our work. Then perhaps all of us can begin the work of telling the truth and seeking reconciliation so that we can begin to fully realize the potential of this place on earth. Because I have some more good news about this good place on earth. Here in Amarillo, we have more diversity of culture, of language, of cuisine, of religion. We have more diversity than anyone from outside of here would ever expect of this place. Amarillo is, and has always been, a pluralistic community, and done right, done well, done with honor and integrity, it will become delicious. You see, before I became a minister, I was a cook. And I still see the whole world in terms of food and meals and stories from the grandmothers who loved us forward through their cooking. I got to tell you, the good news of Amarillo is that there is barbecue and fried catfish and pad thai and tamales. and macaroni and cheese and beautiful fragrant bowls of pho. All sorts of other good things that are going to give us the strength to do the work of bending the moral arc of the universe towards justice. We're going to need these good foods to give us the strength because it will take all of us. Those of us who have been here for generations and those of us who got here 6 months ago. It will take all of us breaking up the old ways that held us all in the bondage of white supremacy culture. But done well, done with courage, the truth will out, and healing will begin. And as we heal, I hope that we learn how to share our beauty across our differences and to share our bounty across our tables, because it is in sitting down together and breaking bread together that we all become human once again. And I hope that in doing so, we become worthy of the beautiful promise of this land. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
At this time, I bring Amarillo Branch NAACP third president, vice president, Miss Amy Taylor. Please welcome her.
Oh man, that is hard to follow. I'm greatly honored and humbled to have been invited to speak before you today. 2.5 years ago, I decided to go with a friend from the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship to the Mount Olive Baptist Church to attend my first NAACP meeting. At the time, I was seeking to widen my circle of friends and to see if I could be of service to the NAACP and to the North Heights community. And man, was I glad I did. My friend and I were warmly welcomed by all who were in attendance that day. Floyd and Sharon Anthony, Perlina Grover Martin, Iris Lawrence, Billy Millerton, Whitaker, C.W. Nickerson, Maxine Brandon, Frida Powell, Melody Graves, Ludell Hill, Patrick Miller, David Lovejoy, Glenn Pride, and so many more, whom I've come to know in the meetings that followed. I felt immediately like I had known all of these folks for a very long time, and the only regret I had is that I hadn't gone sooner. 6 months later, Floyd Anthony invited me to be the community liaison for the NAACP. I was greatly honored and excited to be entrusted with this position, while knowing that filling the shoes of Myrna Rathman would be impossible. Through connections that Patrick Miller and David Lovejoy had with PBS, the NAACP and PBS were able to form a partnership to present a candidate forum, a film, several panel discussions. We also networked to assemble a crowd at several AISD board meetings to advocate for changing the name of Robert E. Lee Elementary and for the formation of a committee that would propose the end of forced busing in Amarillo and give the residents of the North Heights the first right of refusal in attending Carver Elementary School and Carver Early Education Academy. Much has been done, but there is so much more to do. In order to accomplish the important work we have in front of us, we must lend a hand to those who have already undertaken great works. One of the first projects we need to throw our support behind concerns voter registration and voter turnout. Anybody who knows me knows I'm all about voter registration, voter turnout. In terms of the percentage of voters who supported progressive candidates, Precinct 4 is a rock star. It is a rock star. In terms of precincts that supported progressive voters in the last election, there is no precinct that had a greater percentage of voters, back progressive voters, in Precinct 4. Not in Amarillo, not in the entire Texas Panhandle. But we need more of a good thing. We need more. 2 weeks ago, Mildred Garden and Dolores Thompson were at the volunteer deputy registrar training to renew their license to be able to register voters. We need more people to go up to the 3rd floor of the Santa Fe building to become VDRs and to help register their neighbors to vote. We need more VDRs. We need more voters, like the voters of Precinct 4. I'm talking, and why do we need these? Well, we need these because we've had so many great leaders and there are so many great leaders to come. I'm talking about leaders like Iris Lawrence, who was the first African-American elected Potter County Commissioner. James Allen, who fought tirelessly for years to end forced busing in Amarillo. I'm talking about elected leaders like Alfonso Vaughn, Idella Jackson, Elisha Demerson, Frida Powell, Patrick Miller, and Robin Malone. For their sake, and for the sake of all of the great elected leaders yet to come, we must do everything within our power, not only to vote, but to encourage our neighbors to register and get to the polls. What else can we do? Educationally, opportunities abound. There are students brimming with enthusiasm and potential at Carver and Lee Elementaries who could use tutors. Not available during the day? There are opportunities to tutor at the Warford Center in the evenings. There is so much work, so much good work being done where funding could help. I'm talking about the work being done by Lenitra Behringer and the College Success Initiative. Scholarships, I'm talking scholarships. We can all pitch in to make scholarships available to deserving Amarillo students through both the College Success Initiative and, of course, the NAACP. No student should have to choose between having no post-secondary education or a lifetime of crushing debt. There is so much great work being done that we can all get behind and support. Like the work that Mildred Darden has done in forming the North Heights Advisory Association and writing the North Heights Neighborhood Plan. All of Amarillo should be behind Mildred, as the work that she has done on St. Anthony's and in bettering North Heights benefits the entire city of Amarillo. I took the office, all of Amarillo also needs to get behind the project of renaming of Amarillo Boulevard to Martin Luther King Boulevard. We need to join cities like Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, Lubbock, and Wichita Falls in adding a major thoroughfare named after this great civil rights leader. I took the oath of office, Mercy forgot me today, but I took the oath of office today as the 3rd Vice President of the Amarillo branch NAACP. I'm both honored and humbled. I look forward to working for many years alongside all of the leaders already mentioned and the leaders yet to come to continue their great work of creating a society of equal opportunity and equal justice for all here in Amarillo. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. At this time, I bring up one of our executive officers who works tirelessly in our community to help our young. She's the head of our AXO committee, which handles young people. And this woman devotes hours after hours of her own personal time and money to help young people in our community. At this time, I welcome Ms. Melody Graves.
Good afternoon, Amarillo. Good afternoon. All right, in the spirit of MLK Day, I need y'all to give somebody a hug, because that's what he talked about was action. So today we're going to hug somebody.
That's it. Yeah, good. I got to throw this guy. I'm the only one that didn't get the message. I didn't get the memo. I should why not?
before you today as we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and his contributions and changes that his life has facilitated for our country. I remember I stood before a congregation 20 years ago today in this same town and called for the social action that Dr. King said that we must demand. I'm sad to report that while some strides have been made here in Amarillo, Texas, it still seems that we have a ways to go. While progress should have been gained, we find ourselves stagnated and the rest of the city continues to grow and thrive, and we find ourselves divided between one another and forgetting that a house divided will never stand. At a time when our division is costing us our future, it becomes imperative that we reassess the blueprint for our lives. As Dr. King reminds us, the blueprint must be proper, sound, and solid. And when you're developing your blueprint, you must have a deep belief in your own dignity and your own worth, and the determination to achieve excellence in various endeavors. As I look around and we reassess our lives, we must understand that our blueprint has not been solid, and that while we have been focusing on doing better than each other, Amarillo is moving on without us. Right here in Amarillo, Texas, our pools are being closed. Our neighborhoods are being overrun with dilapidated buildings. Our elementary schools remain named in honor of racists, and our children are the ones who are suffering. I stand before you today to make an extraordinary request. Webster's dictionary defines extraordinary as beyond which is usual, ordinary, regular, or established. So today, my extraordinary request is simply that we reevaluate our blueprint. And during this reevaluation period, can we start to stand together? Can we help our children? Can we love ourselves? And most importantly, can we vote? 53 years ago, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 made it illegal to keep African Americans from voting. And in our last local election, the numbers were frightening. We must do better. We must use the platform that we were given to promote good and love and send a message to our leaders that we will not allow our blueprint to fail any longer. Yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence compared Donald Trump to Dr. King. This tells us two things about Mr. Pence. Number one is that he needs to be schooled about our rich culture and our history. And it also tells us that a message needs to be sent to our presidential leadership. A message that says that my love is stronger than your hate. A message that says that your judgment is not stronger than our acceptance. A message that says your divisive spirit is not stronger than our ability to come together and affect change as though we have never came together before. It was Dr. King that said that if you can't fly, then run. And if you can't run, then you need to walk. And if you can't walk, then you need to crawl. But whatever you do, you need to start moving forward. Amarillo, it is time that we start to move forward. Today, I would like to leave you with words from Dr. King that have changed my life. He said, well, I don't know what will happen now, for we've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop and I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life because longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned with that now. I just want to do God's will. And you see, he's allowed me to go to the mountaintop, and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land, and I may not get there with you. I may not get there with you. But together we're going to get there. Together we're going to get there. I said together we're going to get there. And so I'm happy today. I'm not worried about anything, and I'm not fearing any man, because mine eyes have seen the glory and the coming of the Lord. Thank you.
Great job, Miss Melody. At this time, I'd like to recognize the people with the Amarillo branch NAACP who are responsible for this event today. A lot of hours, a lot of hard work, a lot of planning. Being up at 4 a.m. this morning for interviews. Dana Brandon Woods, would you please stand? Bill Glover and Glenn Pride. Give these guys a big hand for a great event. I just kind of showed up. That's all I did. I just showed up. At this time, we're honored to bring Mr. Devlin Jones forward to honor us with one of my things.
Good morning, afternoon. How y'all doing? Oh, it's MLK Day. Y'all ought to be having a great day today. Right? This MLK Day, y'all should be having a great day today, right? Let's give Mr. Martin Luther King a hand this morning, this afternoon. Y'all can do better than that. It's MLK Day! Happy Martin Luther King Day! All right. Come on. I know a change gonna come. I was born by the river in a little tin toe, like that river. It's not on. I've been running ever since. Turn it up. It's been a long. Hold on. Like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's okay to make some noise, come on. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. You believe it? Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother. I say, brother, whoa, won't you help me please? But my brother, he keeps on knocking me right back down to my knees. And when I go to the movies, when I go to hang around. Amarillo, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. And this is what happens. Then I go to my brother. I say, brother, my own brother, won't you help me please? But my own brother, he keeps on knocking me right back down to my knees. Whoa, a change gon' come. Oh, yes it is. Let me hear you say a change is gonna come. Whoa, a change gon' come. Whoa, yes it is. Without a shadow of a doubt, I believe in my heart a change gon' come. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yes it is. And oh, a change gon' come. God bless you. Remember, a change is gonna come. And happy Martin Luther King Day.
Great job. Beautiful, beautiful. 3 important things that we can all do to facilitate that change. 3 of the most powerful things that we have. 1 is your participation. Get involved. Find out. Sign up. Join. Participate. The other is your vote. One of the most powerful weapons we have. And the 3rd thing is how and where you spend your money. That is a big influence on your community and how you can change your community. Let's get active. Change has got to come. At this time, I bring the president of the Amarillo branch NAACP, Mr. Floyd Anthony.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not going to hold you for 3 seconds. Robin, could you come up here, please? Robin Malone. We got a very important school board meeting coming up tomorrow night, and we all need to be there. And I'll let Robin tell you a little bit about it.
Hi, I'm Robin Malone. I'm the newly appointed AISD board trustee member, and I am asking that all of you come out on tomorrow. I think it's important that you attend all of the school board meetings. Our children are our future, and a lot of the decisions that affect our children are being made at these meetings. You probably watched social media. There is a huge issue that has come up over the last week, and it's an issue that can affect each and every person here that has children. So I would encourage you to attend that meeting. There will be a 1-hour public comment section, and this really goes along with the importance of voting. It's your opportunity to get out and allow your voice to be heard to address this issue. Also, there was a comment made today, or there was mention made of the community school that we are working to put in the North Heights area. I want to thank everyone who came out and participated in that process. It was approximately an 18-month process that resulted in a unanimous approval of a proposal for a neighborhood school going to the Office of Civil Rights in Washington, D.C. So, thank you. So that is just one example where your voice can make a difference. So I hope to see all of you tomorrow. It makes me proud to look out and see so many faces here, and it would also make me proud to look out in that audience and see a lot of you there supporting your children and being part of the decision-making process as it relates to your children. So thank you.
Hey, Patrick. Patrick, come on. You know, you've been hearing a lot about voting. And one of the meet at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening at the Resource Center. Anybody that's out there that's running for election who sees us, these individuals are running for office again. Let's get these individuals elected again, okay? They've been doing a great job. That's why your vote is important. Your vote is important, and we need you to get out and vote. One other thing I like to say, as president of the branch, I primarily feel my job is to organize and delegate. I like to delegate a lot, okay? That's why the program is so good today, so I don't need to say anything. But I got to have somebody to delegate to, so we can use your membership in the branch, okay? My wife, Sharon Anthony, is the, stand up, Sharon, is the membership chair. Give you $30, just sign you up right now. Miss Maxine Brandon is our secretary, and she'll be glad to take your money too, and you will be a member on the spot. Okay? We need you. We need you. Don't complain about what we don't do. We're doing a whole lot, as you can see. We've done a whole lot, but you're not going to read about it in the newspaper. But, you know, if you don't think we're doing enough, bring me your ideas. Bring me your suggestions and comments. And I tell you what, and your membership, and we'll put you to work, okay? We have a good organization. We've been here 75 years. God willing, we won't have to be here another 75 years. But anyway, thank you for coming out today. We appreciate your dedication to the community, your service to the community, and please support these candidates up here. Give them your vote, okay? Give them your vote. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, at this time, we'll get ready to bring Reverend Betty Dickerson up for our benediction. But right now, I want all the young people in the audience to please stand up. All the kids, stand up. Please, please. Look around, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we're working for. Always remember that.
And keep in mind that the NAACP is a diverse organization. It's open to all people of color, regardless of race or gender. We need your service, and we need your help and support. Come join us.
Amen again. Let us stand, those that are not standing. Again, let us join hands. You're going to have to reach across. Don't be afraid to touch someone. Amen. Let us close our eyes. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come unto Thee, thanking You for this assembly today. Father God, thank You for being in the midst, yet the head of it. Father God, just thank You for keeping us in the palm of Your hand. Father God, we know that Your will is going to be done, and we're thanking You in advance for that. That the work will be done, what You want for the NAACP to do, what You want for us as Christians to do. In Your name, Jesus, can ask all things. Where two or three are joined together, it shall be done. In Your name, Jesus, thank You. Again, hug one another and say, I love you in the name of Jesus.
One other thing. One other thing, tomorrow at 12 noon on the campus at West Texas A&M University, they will be putting on a Dr. Martin Luther King Day presentation. Coach Julian Reese will read the I Have a Dream speech. If you want to participate, that'll be a big, great event. thank all you guys for being out here. Go forward. Let's do good. Let's change this world. Thank you. Have a great day.